late, right? Because they're not worried about a Razor scaling into them. They're not worried about the OD or the Bloodseeker that we were talking about. And if they can get the Tusk with a Blink Dagger, and even with the Aghanim Scepter, I feel like they can still make a pretty decent shot of this. You know, their high ground defense is pretty damn decent.
All right, well, we'll see if they're going to be able to get to that stage. The late game is enough for them to secure. Because Aster, they have a scary lineup to be able to push the tempo. A Tiny that's always roaming across the map. The Broodmother to be able to give their own vision as well to set up for the pickoffs. And also, we've seen what the Shadow Fiend can do so far throughout the last chance qualifiers and the group stages as well.
Got a lovely little Ori Storm Spirit spray in the mid lane.
One of the few players that was picking up at the Arlington Major. Have some incredible success on it, so it's only fitting. Of course, one of his favorite heroes and best heroes. So put Tiny very close to that as well. He's only gold tier Tiny, but don't let that fool you. This man plays a formidable rock, man.
Remember, Team Spirit need this win, even to potentially force tiebreakers. There's so many different permutations that could happen. They could be that four-way tiebreaker for a single upper bracket slot, and there's still elimination tiebreakers even going on right now, I believe, at least in this these next few minutes. So, one of the closest TIs we've ever had.
Only fitting, right, with the season that has been 2021 and 2022. All these 20 teams, and we've seen everyone can take a map off it. The fact that we have tiebreakers for elimination, this really goes to show how close this TI is.
Oh yeah, no winless teams anymore. It's all about how close all of the different regions are, and it comes down to those clutch moments, those TI moments, those moments that make players go from stars to superstars.
You a superstar?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet. What a loser. Wow. Dude, I'm a superstar.
All right, let's not get carried away with ourselves. You get one tweet referencing you and you think you're all that. Top side, Monet, he's going to be going into collapse. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I think it is important to make sure that the Broodmother gets out of the lane in a much better spot. So the Fortune's End to be able to cleanse off the Frostbite and the slows coming through from this Troll CM lane are important. But is it more important than being able to potentially survive against a Primal Beast just running on top? Positioning's going to need to be on point coming through from Aster.
We're still expecting this lane to be very troll favored, even though it's an Oracle now instead of the Shadow Demon. Oh,
of course. Almost every single lane is troll favored, right? So, just got to make sure that you get out of it in a decent spot. I think they were a little concerned about how the mid-game could shape up if that lane continued on for too much longer, but that early rotation enabling them to get the tier 1 tower just opened it up so much. So in a way, they're very fortunate, and they don't have the Leshrac this time around. You know, Shadow Fiend wants to be playing a little bit more defensively. Tiny, yeah, you can get kills, but you don't have that ability to convert that into another objective. So maybe just putting a little bit more emphasis onto the laning phase so you don't need to play around the towers quite as much.
Does seem like Ori's off to a very good start, even though Toronto Tokyo is getting plenty of last hits. I mean, this mid lane's going to be relatively even between the two. Often that's the case when you're against the Zeus matchup as well. Farm's just going to be traded back and forth. No really crazy shenanigans of the solo kill potential. Probably going to be looking towards Monate's in some trouble. Great toss back from Baboka, however. We'll get Monate out of danger.
Running a little low on the regen. Coming through there, but Baboka with his healing salve will be just fine. He realizes that they're going to be in a position to go for these dives pretty consistently, especially with the creep wave coming underneath the tower, but Monet actually drags it under a little bit earlier than I'm sure Team Spirit would have been wanting, so it means that they're not set up to go for that next kill. You've got the level 2 now on the Marcy. Might even pull him back underneath the tower.
Let's attempt.
Instead, just securing a couple of range creeps and the melee for Monet, so he's going to be happy enough about that.
This'll come in handy.
Level 3 now, so have to be a little bit careful with where exactly you're looking to extend
look
to a collapse.
Miro. Cute play. I thought Collapse was going to follow up. Try and hold them down with the shards, but Collapse is a little bit weak at the moment. The threat of the razors stopping him from following up on that Tusk opening with the shards.
Yeah, even just cancelling the razors as well, right? Showing that I've got the threat. I can bring the damage onto you and really slow down the impacts of that trample. Not just the movement speed, but the turn rate as well. Constant tangos being given over to Monet, realizing that he just needs to be hitting these creeps with reckless abandon in the lane.
I think the big victor is bottom lane on XXS. One last hit over Yatoro at the moment. They've done a really good job with the creep equilibrium. It's going to now start to favor Team Spirit again. Thanks to Miposhka. They shove the lane into Dire's towers. Will often reset and kind of bounce back. Yeah, plus Toronto Tokyo. Oh no, he doesn't get some distance. Fairy Fire should be okay. He's got some bottle and even a water rune now for good measure, but very close for Ori getting that kill.
Very close indeed, and they're going to be able to take away at least one of those water runes. Get another wave, and he's a little bit ahead on the experience as well on Ori. So have to be very careful now on Toronto Tokyo. Doesn't have too much of that safety.
Bottom lane, Miposhka's going to end up going down. First blood picked up again for Aster in this Broodmother lane. Hokori should be able to hit back with a long range attack, so they'll get a 1-for-1, but again, this is a lane that should be very favorable for Team Spirit, and they will, for the second game in a row, give up first blood to Aster. And
this time it's over to XXS instead. So previously, it was very important to give that Shadow Demon the gold to be able to pick up that Demonic Cleanse early. But this time around, you're an Oracle. You don't really have this huge item timing. It's just about those small little value items that are going to enable you to be playing safer. Experience, but you're very happy to give that kill over to XXS.
Without a doubt. So how much of an issue it was in game one when XXS completed the Wraith Pact, and the lane that he's having and even getting that bonus bounty as well is just going to come out that much faster.
Even if Miposhka goes a little bit too far forward, he's got plenty of one charges to play around and the raindrops, so it might be a little bit more challenging, but Siamese Cat with level 2 Purifying Flames. Always a danger to start rallying out the damage if they feel they need to. Boca might be in trouble.
Might be in some trouble. Yeah, looked to jump in, but Monet wasn't ready to follow up. So Marcy will end up going down. Mira playing around with the snowball perfectly, but Monet finds 3 razors. He's going to be relying on the right clicks, and instead he'll turn to Mira afterwards, so they won't get the prime kill into Collapse's life, but at least Monet will find something out of this.
Did he need 2 tangos there to be able to get the kill? I think he did, just to be able to guarantee it and get back to lane that little bit faster.
I would like to see Spirit try and make something happen shortly. Toronto Tokyo has this Thunder God's Wrath. They want to use it as early as possible. Try and put it on cooldown, secure the kill.
It's not going to happen with Mira playing in this mid lane though. He needs to rotate up top. At the moment, the haste rune was picked up by Ori. So he isn't actually even going to pop it in response to this kill attempt. So still having the avenue once he drags this wave back under the tower. I'm sure he wants the siege creep to join it so that he can look to make his own rotation. And the tanky hero like the Primal Beast can't be left solo up here for too long. Bobica looking to try and maybe even bring it back inside the creep wave, get them to do a lot of the right clicks.
Looks like unfortunate for him is will end up going down. Monet's going to start to try and pivot his attention over.
Long raise.
Long raise.
The sidestep by Collapse, yeah. Maybe even bring it back inside the creep wave, get them to do a lot of the right clicks.
Looks like unfortunate for him is will end up going down. Monet's going to start to try and pivot his attention over.
Long raise.
Long raise.
The sidestep by Collapse, yeah.
And bottom lane now, XXS is in some trouble. Trying to go into the ready if required. And there it comes out the last second. Now with the extra damage, they'll turn to deal with Siamese Cat as well. Azori, he's got the haste to play with. Would love a kill onto Yatoro, but won't be able to reposition. So he's going to go for the kill onto Miposhka instead. But he might be lacking the damage, in fact. The combo's not enough for the Crystal Maiden kill thanks to the raindrop. So that is a big rotation from Ori that does not pay off.
And he's got to get back to mid. He doesn't have a TP. So when they made that movement, they got the kill. Toronto Tokyo just spams out the mid wave, and you've got a siege creep here as well. So lots of free damage going to be going into this. They might even pop an aggressive glyph here if there aren't any movements. And yep, there they do.
Very cool. Mira's even going to rotate as well, maybe to try and protect Toronto Tokyo, or more likely actually set up for the 8-minute power rune if they can give this to the Zeus. Fortunately, the 50-50 is not going to pay out in their favor. Ori, once again, with the power room to work with.
But I mean, look at that mid tower. It's already at less than a quarter HP just off the back of a Zeus. This is not what a Zeus lane does.
Not at all. Bottom lane, Miposhka might be in some trouble here.
So might XXS if they get a lucky root, but the disarm coming through.
They'll just wait until it expires. Beautiful kiting from Miposhka, making sure that he's just never in a compromised position. It's now top lane. Monet, they're going to be able to snowball on forward, closing the gap instantly.
Speed,
Run little piggy run as Monet back towards the tier 2 tower, but collapse instantly. Just be able to close the distance onto Baboka with the long stretched arms, be able to slam into the ground.
Much better start to the game.
What as well? They're diving XXS, alright.
Yeah.
So this is what we're expecting out of this bottom lane. Finally, the troll has been able to get some distance in regards to their net worth. It's about a 700 advantage here for Yatoro over XXS's Broodmother.
They're able to get so much more out of this early game here on Team Spirit. It's kind of been the theme of this TI, right? When teams need the win to be able to stay alive, whether it be in the tournament or in the upper bracket contention, they just turn up. They turn that, that extra 10% coming through. And that clutch factor is so key. You're just going to get the, feel the nerves once you come into it. Aster, obviously, they're able to relax, but Team Spirit, certainly not the case.
Getting the tower in the end is just so ridiculous with the lineup that Spirit have. Honestly, should not happen. Collapse? They're going to be able to get the pounce. They do, but Boka stops the onslaught as well. Collapse knew exactly where Aster were playing with the ward on the higher ground, but still will be caught out without looking to retreat.
I think they're picking out the positioning here from the Primal Beast as well. Don't think the Observer Ward scouted it out, but with him moving towards the top side, they know that he's made a movement down towards the Ancients, so they'll be a little bit more cautious with Yatoro once he makes that rotation back towards the Ancients area, knowing that they're going to be playing underneath that.
It's a beautiful game, Dota is. Game of inches. Very close to, trying to maximize your potential to farm. You potentially find kills as well. I'll hold that thought as Ori should be okay. Ooh, Toronto Tokyo is actually going to make him work for it. Mira's going to be able to cut off the path. Shards, not the greatest positioning. The reason why I was starting on that thought is just with that kill up top on Collapse. Like, he knew exactly where Dire were playing, but you don't want to reveal the Observer Ward. You're trying to wait for the last second to escape, just so they don't think that there's a ward placed there, so we can continue to farm aggressively. And this is the beautiful thing that we have in Dota, a very complex game.
Normally, it's what you don't know can't hurt you, but very much the opposite case this time around. These Observer Wards are going to give them a ton of value on Team Spirit as they go for a smoke of their own. They know that they need to be playing around the fact that they might have this vision up here, and Mira's going to pop underneath it.
But look at the vision that Aster are playing with now. They see all of Spirit on the high ground. They're going to try and target down Siamese Cat. A lot of damage. Oh, Spirit! All the magic damage coming out in the end. It's the captain that's rewarded with the triple kill. What a freezing field as Miposhka just cleans up.
Maybe even thinking, I wonder if they even baited that smoke, right? I think they might have smoked underneath the vision, realizing that they might have that, and they felt a little bit more confident to be able to make that aggressive move come through as, yeah, again, what an onslaught coming through. And Miposhka, just press RXD, and then he's able to get a nice little triple kill.
Oh my. I mean, see, Toronto Tokyo would have loved that. He used Thunder Gods. You gotta wait a little bit. Miposhka's got the right idea to kill secure with the freezing field. Toronto Tokyo, come on, Zeus players, they need to... The R button, you gotta hold to the last second.
Yeah, but what about the Rampage? Have we seen a support Rampage at TI? I don't think we have.
I don't know. Bottom lane, Yatoro? He should be right. Oh, he doesn't have the battle trance leveled up at the moment.
It's bumped back in.
The rest of Spirit, look at the wraparound, because Mira might be able to get a +1. The shards will hold him through afterwards to enable...
I don't think we have.
I don't know. Bottom lane, Yatoro? He should be right. Oh, he doesn't have the battle trance leveled up at the moment.
It's bumped back in.
The rest of Spirit, look at the wraparound, because Mira might be able to get a +1. The shards will hold him through afterwards to enable the rest of the team. He's actually going to go for Baboka instead. Of course, XSS has that capability to always be able to fly on over. Nuisance of the Broodmother, but that's a big killer. Great reactions out of Radiant, and Collapse is looking for another one as well. They might put some pressure into the tower here. They've got multiple members nearby to protect in case there is a defense.
They know they lack the damage, and they're going to be able to find the Brood.
Success, slam into the ground, but Simon's Cat is going to be playing with at least the old tower here. They've got multiple members nearby to protect in case there is a defense.
They know they lack the damage, and they're going to be able to find the Brood.
Success, slam into the ground, but Simon's Cat is going to be playing with at least the ultimate to protect the Brood for the moment. Very close to the tier 2 tower, so the rotation's going to come out from 1A. Toss back closer to the Shadow Fiend, but the snowball will buy him some time. And Mira can step to the southern side, and again, push!
Let it go!
Just let it go, brother, let it go! Collapse can now go behind the tier 2 tower as well. Dancing into the tree line, and they will not catch up as Spirit. They've got all the answers here in this second game.
I mean, they know that they're just lacking damage on Aster right now. That's why they're feeling so confident in going underneath these tier 2 towers, because they know that the turnaround isn't on point. You know, as soon as Ori's not there, they just don't have that burst potential. They don't have the reposition. Even though what was amazing dispose, as well as a rebound, perfect spellcasting coming through from Siamese Cat as well, it's just not enough. They don't have the heroes for it. This isn't the part of the game that your draft was playing for.
Alright, if you are in Miposhka's position, a 416 Crystal Maiden at 14 minutes in, what's the item? What do you do with this luxury that he has, with all the gold, all the net worth that he's playing with?
BKB, baby. I want to see it.
Oh, and then you just... Well, I guess you do get all that armor from the freezing fields, so Shadow Fiend won't be too much of an issue.
Deals with the spiders, more farm for yourself to get your next item.
Oh, yes.
And they have no interrupts until you get the Basher on the Marcy. He's going a Midas as well on Bobica.
Ooh.
Wanting to scale, maybe realizing that they are lacking that damage early on and needing to be that scaling core.
We'll see if Spirit can punish them here. 4,000 net worth lead, some really good wards across the map as well. Particularly around this mid lane. See if they're going to wrap on XXS. Mira's in a great position. Toronto, Tokyo as well, moving on over. Hippies are starting to come through. It's going to be Siamese Cat with the ultimate once again to try and buy enough time for XXS to survive the gank. And now Aster, the goons have shown up. It's going to be Ori and Baboka with the wraparound. They're going to try and target down Toronto, Tokyo. We should be able to secure the kill at the moment, but again, the freezing field. Look at the damage from Miposhka. It's going to be soaked up for the moment, but it will not matter as Collapse swings into the neighborhood underneath the secret shot. Miposhka's going to have the finishing damage onto XXS, and Collapse will also slam down the Rockman as well. What's going on, man? Spirit, no casualties, and Miposhka just the main reason of why they've been able to do these fights.
I want to see some of these player cams while all of this is happening, because Miposhka, he must be having the time of his life. He's like, guys, no one's hitting me. I'm just able to get freezing fields off every single time.
For a second, I look over and it was the Fate's Edict blocking it, but it's like, no, soon expired. Miposhka just, again, all the damage. Again, another fight, he did the most damage. Oh my lord.
It completely, it's around these choke points as well, right? You can't walk back into it. You're already swinging so slow on the Tiny. But once you use that Avalanche Toss combo, you feel almost entirely useless.
Oh, they're seeing 1-8 farming pretty far out up top, and Spirit in a position where they can look to try and close the distance. 1-8 instead, he's going to go under the T2 tower, but Spirit, that's not a deterrent at all. Collapse is well and truly happy. He will finally go down thanks to the trample. Miposhka wanted the kill. Not gonna happen. Collapse up to a dominating streak. 7-1-4 as well for the Primal Beast. Night and day difference it is here from Spirit. Incredible performance.
We really do see that dominance come out from the Primal, don't we? Especially in the first 20 or so minutes of the game, but it's not like they're the greatest BKB buyers, right? How often are you wanting to get it super early on this Tiny? Of course, the Shadow Fiend's going to get it, but we've seen XXS with his item builds, and he's going in for the Wraith Pact again, which I believe he might have finished up, so at least there's a little bit of that damage reduction coming through now. But could be looking to go into the pipe because of all of this impact coming through from Miposhka, as well as, of course, being a good counter for Toronto Tokyo.
Oh, mid lane, Ori and Siamese Cat. Again with the vision. Ori's in trouble. They've got the Oracle at least playing off to the right side to try and buy him some time, and the shard's just off the mark, but that's where Collapse can come into play to help out with the sloppy mistake. Is now an easy kill onto the Oracle, and Ori will be chased down. XXS is trying to find an angle into the team fight, but with 5 members of Spirit, they'll be able to protect him and make sure that no one dies.
Oh, they were... is it Lightning Bolt on the high ground? Ooh, just off. Wanted to use the haste instead. Not going to be able to get away, but still, they removed the Observer Ward freshly placed, and it really feels like Aster are playing in the dark right now. Just a couple of clever wards in areas that you wouldn't quite expect on the bottom and top side of the map, but that's not where Team Spirit are grouping up. They're going straight into that Roche pit, realizing that they've got the massive strength. Oh, just one more kill, Aries. That's all we need.
Okay. 2-2-3. 3-2-2. Great position from Mira. And with the Observe Ward. Trying to hope he can pop a smoke, because Ori's at the ready to be able to jump in with the blink, but they'll be too late. Beautifully done from Mira. If required, would have been able to block off the path. Had a pretty good game on the toss so far. 1-1-9. A lot of net worth to be playing with. Going to be closing on the blink as well, so he'll soon have this defensive snowball if required, or can even utilize it as a way to potentially start the fights and maybe block off one of the members.
Very disappointed in Maposhki. He went into the 4-staff instead, just being a good team player. I even saw him there putting his body on the line to be able to catch out any sort of smoke attempts, but my man, you got a mega kill streak. You can't be doing that.
Come on. Gotta get the godlike now. It's your one opportunity.
All right, what kill streak is he going to get up to?
Unstoppable? Is he I don't even know.
He's got a mega kill right now. I think he's going to get a monster
unstoppable,
kill.
is it?
Monster's 8, I think.
Smoke from Spirit. Aster grouped up at the moment around their high ground. XXS in a pretty good spot to pop the smoke. It's actually going to be Ori they run into first. And bye-bye Tiny. Not long for this world. And look at Collapse as well, just recognizing his role. Going straight towards the backline, trying to push the Oracle away from the defensive position. And off to the right side, FCFs have been caught out as well as Shotoro.
They already called it.
All right, Aster, they've had enough. And a 19-minute GG call as Spirit just blow them up in this second game.
Should have said mega kill streak from Aposhka, but very worthy. The 3-2-2 eventually did come in the scoreline, but it didn't come in the game, that's for sure. Aster not needing the other win to guarantee themselves a spot in the upper bracket. They already have that secured. And now Team Spirit, they've got a chance pending the result of some of these other games going on right now.
I believe if I saw correctly, Thunder had like a 95% chance to win the game 2. So if they win one game, then they are guaranteed upper bracket. So Spirit is hoping that they don't take that game, but it's not looking too good.
I mean, there's been a lot of hopium going around today. You know, the Boom fans were hoping that they would be able to win against EG. They were hoping that Gaimin Gladiators would be able to 2-0 Soniqs, and that happened. So crazier things have happened throughout. You know, top of the table, losing 2-0 to bottom. Anything can happen in Dota, and a 19-minute GG is just one of those things.
Yep, 19-minute GG is just one of those things. Again, we see the lanes started. The first couple of minutes definitely started rough in that Troll lane, but as expected, the Troll and the Crystal Maiden really bodying XXS, and we saw kind of the influence as well from Collapse Primal Beast. It was a much better game from him as well. I think in the previous game he went like 3-5, and this game completely different. I was very impressed with what he was just doing, just charging straight to the backline. Doesn't matter if you don't kill the Oracle, it's just the fact that you're forcing him to run away instead of being in an area where you can maybe protect, you know, some of the core members with the Fate's Edict or with the False Promise.
I mean, even this was really solid spellcasting coming out, like the double stuns being landed, the damage coming through, but again, it's onto a Tusk. He even picks the right target that's not going to be running back underneath the tower. They get that kill. Perfect spellcasting from both sides, but again, it's just the power of the draft, the power of the early game. And, you know, you might be thinking, well, once they had BKBs, they had a way to come back into this, but it really wasn't anyone but the Shadow Fiend that was going to be in a position to have that BKB potential.
Yours was here once again. And this was another fight that it looked like it was decent for Aster to start. But just Baboka and Ori just not having enough damage to kill off Toronto Tokyo. Definitely one of the more vulnerable members if you get on top of him. And potentially a big reason why is because you just had this big issue of the freezing field in the middle. The rest of the team couldn't move over to try and help out with maybe some of the damage they were lacking.
Yeah, they realized how important it was in terms of Team Spirit's damage to be able to take out this Zeus. So much more emphasis being placed onto him that they just gave Maposhka a free game. I mean, most of the time when you see a Tiny go down like that, it's a position 4 Tiny that's trying to go for the toss back. But this was a mid Tiny that was almost less net worth than the CM by the end of it.
And I think this is also really important as well for just overall how teams are going to look to address the brood model, because we've seen Aster, of course, game 1 they had success on it, game 2 not as much, but we've also seen that EG, Nightfall is really playing some incredible broods, potentially other people as well. I haven't seen anyone else run it, but I'm sure they are. So this now could be the recipe for success. Again, he's a weak laner, And that's where you need to demolish him. Demolish him in the lane and then have the rest of the team that can also start to rotate as well to continue to shut him down. So this is definitely going to be a hero that will continue to be picked up in the playoffs. And I wonder if we're going to see a similar recipe to try and beat him.
To be fair, I feel like the lane started to go really badly as soon as the Oracle left the lane, right? As soon as you didn't have that purge off for the Frostbite, when you could enable a lot of these kills. And maybe that was just a mistake coming through from Siamese Cat this time around. Needing to stick in the lane. Obviously, you have a Marcy that can look to roam around the map. Top lane wasn't going too badly for Aster. They were using the extra movement speed to be able to get away from Collapse, but just giving a few of those free kills over to the Troll Warlord, getting him into that early timing on the Battle Fury, meant that they just had too much of a net worth lead and they were able to extend it. I mean, even just the smaller things, right? That decision to not have anyone TP to deal with the mid lane, to not have a TP on the Tiny when he made that rotation bot with the haste, and a Zeus nearly takes your tier 1 tower on his own. Really shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not expected. Zeus is a hero that shoves up the lane and maybe goes back and farms as well. But just the decision to use the aggressive glyph was really nice to see from Spirit instead of using it maybe to protect one of their towers. And that opened up the map for them to continue to play aggressive.
Give it to Miposhka. Come on. Give him the MVP. You got to feel bad for Ori. Like, after what a great game one it was. And hey, let's go. Supports rise up. Coming through for Miposhka. I mean, it was so well-deserved, right? He basically did everything perfect that game. Warding, understanding of when he could look to use his abilities in team fights, standing perfectly so that he baits out people without actually committing his life for it. Even with that mega kill streak, being in position to be able to break the smoke around the Roche timers. So, very well-deserved. Support gold spent. He is one of those heroes that, one of those players, rather, that does go quite heavily and appreciate that you are the 5. You are almost the position 6, but not this game. The true carrier of the game, Miposhka on his CM.
Love to see it. And like you said as well, though, the warding was pretty on point. I was a big fan of the wards that we saw at the Triangle. What are we all knowing at? You
don't think the CM's going to get nerfed now, do you? She's already got no movement speed.
She's starting to rise in popularity, man. The CM is yeah, we're seeing it a little bit more, and having some good games.
Please no, Ice Frog. That's all I ask. I love the CM. I don't want it to be suffering too much more than it has over the years. Let it have one moment in the sun. But that's us for us right now. We still don't know the situation entirely with tiebreakers, but the people that do know are the guys on the panel, as well as Nat, that are going to be able to take us through this next little bit. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later.
It was a battle for the upper bracket between Spirit and Aster here. They Spirit to be able to enter that upper bracket. There are some other results that are at play as to if they will make it or not, but we can break down the games. We can have a chat about what happened here, and then we can go on and have a bit of a chat about what happened on all of our other streams. This game 1 going the way of Aster though, T-Panda.
Yeah, Aster starting off with a good role. Monet unkilled in this game on the Razor as well, so pretty solid performance. Their draft looked like they might be in big trouble at the early stage. The laning stage was a bit wonky, but they did hit their timings pretty well and rolled out from there. Team Spirit, if you look at their draft as a whole, you see a lot of control here. I'm still not a big fan of the Troll Warlord. I think that's a hero that is still a bit of a hit or a miss in my books. Fear, what do you think?
I mean, he's definitely a hit or miss, but when you're playing versus a Razor, that's just the worst matchup for Troll in the game, as many people will say, amongst many professionals and myself. I'm like, Razor, very difficult. There's few heroes other than Razor that I think just completely shut down Troll. I don't know how they didn't get this banned, but in for a rough game for sure.
Considering you are the professional, you can keep going onwards and upwards to game number 2 drop. Yes, we will. And we'll see what they picked out there for Spirit to be able to take game number 2.
It's a completely different story here. They got the Troll, again, versus the Broodmother, but guess what we don't see? Razor on the enemy team.
Yep. Adapting and learning, you love to see it.
Adapting and learning indeed. And he had an outstanding laning stage here on Yatoro. He was dominating. So 4 kills in the laning stage against the Broodmother. So he got off to a skyrocketing start. Collapse, he struggled a little bit in the laning stage against the Shadow Fiend, but they pick up really quickly after that. Mira's Tusk, Collapse's Primal Beast, were roaming across the map, getting kills, making tons of space. for Yatoro to farm it up, and they GG'd this out in 19 minutes.
One big impactor for that as well, Miposhka, Crystal Maiden, second highest hero damage as well in this game. So he's done a lot of heavy lifting for the team of that C. And we've talked about the hero quite a lot, and this is the kind of results where you see, damn, that hero's good.
Sometimes it feels like we talk about a hero, all the impact that it has, how good it is, and then we just see it fall off. People find answers for it, people stop picking it or increasing the bans. CM, though, we talked about it yesterday, her stocks are rising, and still today we continued that trend of how good she is looking. But let's move aside from that game. You guys have already seen it, and instead we're going to talk about what's happened over on the other streams. We can start with B stream, having a chat about Fnatic and TSM. This was a match for TSM that they had to win. They need wins here because they are right now at the bottom of the ladder. Fnatic took this game number 1, though, T-Panda.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting draft from Fnatic. I have to say, the thought process with this drafting has been pretty interesting. You're going for a tri-core Monkey King TA sniper, and you basically got 2 overlapping heroes, and you have a third as a variation to it. But it seemed to work out. I mean, jabs on this Monkey King, heavy lifting. This guy did a ton of work this game to make it work for them. The TA-DS matchup looks like it's a bit favoring the TA in the safe lane, helps him get back into the game. The sniper with a small edge on the SF mid, but this Monkey King should have, in all terms, struggled against that, or struggle against this /CM. However, it went the other way around. Also, a highlight-worthy notion is the Saberlight Crimson Guard on Darkseer, which is the 7th pickup on this tournament.
Yeah, but that didn't really
help them here, did it?
I will say the draft here from Fnatic, it is a little weird, may look a little greedy, but it kind of works because TSM's running a similar style of the Darkseer, doesn't really make many plays, Leshrac and Shadow Fiend. Seemed like a very farm-heavy type of game, so it just neutralized, and they were able to make it work.
Yeah, and game 2 seems to be still going on at this current moment, but see some perks and some strengths in this draft. A bit of countering here and there. Overall, you could see like TSM has a pretty good lineup to protect the Drow Ranger, Saberlight Dawnbreaker. That's always a nice one to see. But for Fnatic, coming out from a roll from game